David Suzuki has spent his entire life scolding me for heating my home, driving my truck, taking the odd plane trip, having kids, and worst of all, having friends and family who work in the oil patch so that the rest of Canada can heat their homes, drive their cars, and take the odd family vacation. And Suzuki has been given a generous platform by Canada's state broadcaster, the CBC, from which to lecture us on our lifestyles. He's been presented as an expert and a prophet for years and years. But what really gets me about David Suzuki is that all of his scolding and rules, well, they just don't apply to him. Suzuki has 5 kids himself. He's got 4 homes here in Canada and another one all the way in Australia. That's a pretty long plane ride, by the way. And I don't really know what kind of car David Suzuki drives, but I do know that most of his paid speeches and meetings are at least 1 plane ride away. And despite all of his hypocrisy, and I really just skimmed the surface here, the University of Alberta is giving David Suzuki an honorary degree. I kid you not, an honorary degree. So why does any of this matter? Because David Suzuki hates Alberta. He's made quite a career for himself out of hating us. It's what got him those 5 comfortable houses spread out across the globe. And David Suzuki hates the oil sands industry that has offices in Edmonton, the very same city as the University of Alberta. Just listen to what Suzuki told Evan Solomon back in 2015.
It sounds very much to me like the southern states argued in the 19th century that to eliminate slavery would destroy their economy. It did. It transformed their economy, but they took a big hit. But who would say today that the economy should have come before slavery? I mean,
but you're equating the oil industry to slavery there, and they might take real offense to that.
Well, it is the same thing. They're destroying the very atmosphere that we depend on, and they're telling us their existence or their activity shouldn't come under scrutiny and be impacted when their activity is creating the problem. I keep telling the fossil fuel industry, whoever will listen to me, which isn't many, you're an energy industry. You're not an oil industry, you're an energy industry. Now, surely to God, there's enough imagination to find other ways of extracting that energy, starting with the sun and wind and going to geothermal and tidal, and there are huge numbers of other possibilities.
So this guy who hates us so much is now getting an honorary degree from the University of Alberta. Do they even know who he is? Does the rest of Alberta or even Canada know exactly who the real David Suzuki is? I'm guessing no, and I think people would be shocked to find out what he's really all about. So I'm putting it all down in a book out today called The Case Against David Suzuki, The Unauthorized Biography. You can get it all right now by going to suzukibook.com, and you can get it for free as a digital download by signing up with your email address. And if you want to help pitch in to cover the cost of producing this book and making sure we ran it past our lawyers first, you can donate again at suzukibook.com. It's time to let the whole world know who the real David Suzuki is. To get your free digital download of my new book, The Case Against David Suzuki, The Unauthorized Biography, go to suzukibook.com. And while you're there, if you want to help pitch in to cover the cost of creating this book for you, you can donate on that same website, suzukibook.com. It's time to tell the whole world exactly who David Suzuki is.